entering in here to the Oval Office right now.
Do you have any questions, please?
President Trump.
No, let's not start
Mr.
with
President.
CNN. It's just so, they're just so
Mr. President.
wrong.
Well, it's a legal dispute, so I just wanted to get some clarity on it, Mr.
That's
President.
why nobody watches you anymore. You have no credibility. Please go ahead.
And is it normal for Trump to attack you like that? What's it like here inside the White House?
Well, we're all gas and no brakes here at the White House. We had 4 years to really prepare for this amazing moment, this mandate. Over 77 million Americans who voted for President Donald Trump.
And for the people that did work underneath Joe Biden here in the White House, how do they describe the changes they've seen here since Trump's gotten into office? Today, I'm going inside of the White House and I'm bringing you with me. It's 2025 and Donald Trump is changing the way how the White House operates. Traditionally, the White House is only available to news sources like Fox News, CNN, and other traditional news media outlets. However, they're changing the way the White House operates because they know that more and more people are trusting less in the mainstream media and watching more people like myself who tried their best to bring the best news possible without being paid and bought out by outside interests to push certain agendas. And in this video, I'll be going into the White House on 2 separate days, showing you what it's like in Trump's second term. I'll be going into the famous Eisenhower building, touring the grounds of the White House, giving behind-the-scenes looks into the press briefing room, interviewing White House staff to see how they are operating, and entering into the famous Oval Office for a meeting with a foreign leader, the president of El Salvador, Nayib Bukele. This is access like never before. And here are just a few significant events that happened here inside the White House. John F. Kennedy navigated the Cuban Missile Crisis from inside of the Oval Office. Barack Obama ordered the raid of Osama bin Laden from the White House. And Donald Trump has signed a lot of executive orders inside of the White House. And Bill Clinton also got his, wait, I probably shouldn't include that part, but Bill Clinton did do some interesting stuff in here with a woman by the name of Monica.
Indeed, I did have a relationship with Ms. Lewinsky that was not appropriate.
However, the White House is extremely important, as you guys all know. This is going to be a video like you've never seen before, and if you love this country as much as I do, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel, and I promise you guys to make the best content I possibly can. I'll even shake on it if you guys do hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much, and now let's go inside of the White House. To just enter into the White House, you had to be vetted prior by Secret Service, and then you go through multiple rounds of Secret Service security checkpoints to enter inside of the White House. Right here is the Eisenhower building, but right here, the most important place, and the reason why it gets tapped on this video is because of the White House. The White House is separated into 3 segments. 1, the West Wing, 2, the Residency, and 3, the East Wing. And right here is where the Oval Office is, and there's also a room called the Situation Room where very important meetings go down, such as when Osama bin Laden was taken out, Obama ordered the raid there inside the Situation Room. And now we're gonna go into the Eisenhower building, show you guys what it's like. This is a very important building here on the grounds of the White House. You come right inside, you have the new iconic photos that Donald Trump took for his 47th term. I mean, from the look of that photo, do you think our president's messing around? He looks pretty dang serious. And we got a nice guy, JD Vance, right there. Now let's go see what else this building's like. And this building here, as it is on the grounds of the White House, is actually built underneath President Eisenhower, as this is a spot where a lot of the people and the staff from the president, the vice president, and anybody inside the White House, their staff is here inside of this building. So this building right here is filled with important documents. Most things that pass through to the White House eventually come through here. Fun fact about the Eisenhower building, there's actually a bowling alley at the very bottom of the Eisenhower building. The bowling alley was so popular here in the Eisenhower building that it led them to build the second one that's inside of the White House. This is the Indian Treaty Room. Right here, they do swearing-in ceremonies and other big events where they have press come through. The architecture here so far inside of the Eisenhower building is pretty amazing. Everything is so detailed. For instance, just right here, the texture and the colors of this wall, you have purple mixed with gold, mixed with turquoise, and marble walls. And even the ceilings here are amazing. You can see the architecture and the woodwork that went into this building here. It is amazing here inside the Eisenhower building, and we're not even into the White House yet. The rest of the Eisenhower building was filled with cool items such as the first televised inaugural podium, the president's barber chair, massive spiral staircases, and much more. And now it was time to enter into the West Wing to go have some lunch. Now we are walking into the West Wing. Right here you have all the details. You even have the Tesla that Donald Trump bought from Elon Musk after all the Tesla attack to show support of Elon Musk. That is the Tesla right there. And unfortunately, once I got into the West Wing, I could not film any longer because of how private and secure the West Wing needs to remain. However, just a few days later, I was invited back to the White House as Nayib Bukele, the president of El Salvador, had a very important meeting with Donald Trump. This is going to show you what one of these meetings looks like between a foreign leader and the president of the United States. Today we're going in as press. We'll have press credentials and we'll be able to show you guys a lot more as to what happens inside the White House, what it looks like, and how these meetings go between foreign leaders like Nayib Bukele and Donald Trump. And around the exterior of the White House, there's a 13-foot high fence, and this fence is actually a lot more technical than you would think. It is ram-proof and climb-proof, so that way nobody can climb on top, or if a car were to try to drive through, they could not drive through because of how deep down the poles are underneath the concrete. And then if somebody were to somehow get across, there's infrared lasers all across the White House lawn, so that way Secret Service could track anybody that comes in or out to make sure that nobody can get close to the president. Now they just approved us to come in, they gave us a press badge, so this is going to give us access to film a lot more than the first time I came to the White House. Now we're going in, here we go. Right here, you have the beautiful White House right there, and you have active duty guards coming in to welcome Nayib Bukele as a foreign leader is coming to the White House today. Now this is the West Wing right here. This is where all the important business goes down inside the White House. This is where the Oval Office is at, and all the other important rooms for the president's meetings take place here in the West Wing. And the reason for the meeting between Donald Trump and Nayib Bukele today is because with all the immigrants that came into the United States over these past few years, so many gang members have came in, and a lot of these countries, like Venezuela, for instance, do not want to accept their gang members from Tren de Araguas. So therefore, the United States has signed a deal with Nayib Bukele to send these prisoners to a prison called SECA, a maximum security prison, where these prisoners will then stay. That is the reason for their meeting today, to talk about what more they can do to work further together. And I imagine to thank Nayib Bukele for also accepting these prisoners into their prison system. So today, they're going to be coming right through here, through the West Gate, and we'll show you guys everything, and I will even be trying my best to ask some questions. We're going to have that fight that you always see on the news of the media yelling people with questions. I'm going to join in and start saying some questions as well. Kind of cool to be here in person because you always see in the news the arguments the media has with Donald Trump, and right here you're seeing it live. For instance, you have these people right here that are prepping to give their questions. They got the microphones all ready, just shoving right in front of the president's face to see what's going to happen, trying to get their response. A lot of times, Donald Trump's pretty stern with these media people. Maybe I'll say something just to try to get Donald Trump riled up. Maybe get him to roast me on live TV. Or I'm just going to try to ask a simple question, but more than likely, I'm probably going to get drowned out by all of these people who are always just yelling on the TV screen. What's the key to getting off some questions when they come through here if we only have like 10 seconds or...
Oh, well, it's... You can't go over there, but you can shout if you know. I'm sorry, you're interviewing?
Yeah.
Oh, no, you need to ask me if you're going to interview me.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Who are you with?
My name is Nick Shirley. Nayib Bukele has arrived. He has pulled up in the Suburban right here, and Donald Trump will be coming out in just a moment to come greet him. I thought I was going to get a shot to ask a question or something. However, that was quick. That was a lot faster than I thought it was going to be. And now we're going into the press room. From here, I had no idea where we were going. I didn't know what room the next meeting was going to be in or where it would be, if it was going to be in the Oval Office or if it was going to be in some other room. So I followed the rest of the reporters into the press briefing room, where we eventually got pushed through to another room and made it outside. And then from outside, they started putting us into categories as if you were a videographer, a cuts, or taking stills as in photos. I just followed the crowd, and next thing I know, I was getting pushed into the Oval Office, and I look up, and I'm in the middle of the meeting between Nayib Bukele and President Donald Trump. In the Oval Office right now.
Well, thank you very much. It's an honor to have a friend of mine, because we went through this together.
Now here inside this room, we have J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio, Nayib Bukele, and Donald Trump all right here. And within the first few minutes of the meeting, Donald Trump started talking about how Joe Biden and the Democratic Party had destroyed the border by letting in millions of illegal migrants.
Well, we had a terrible thing happen. We had an administration that allowed people to come in freely into our country from not only South America, but from all over the world, many from the Congo and Africa. This was allowed by a man who, what he did to our country is just unbelievable. So we're straightening it out, we're getting him out. We're a great country, but we had stupid people running this country. I can say what they've done to us at the border should never and can never be forgotten. It's a sin what they did, and you are helping us out. And
While this meeting was being televised for the entire world to see, Donald Trump and Nayib Bukele started talking about new numbers of the border, and at this moment, Donald Trump took the opportunity to call out CNN for not reporting the correct numbers at the border.
This morning, 99%, 99.1% to be exact.
Why are those numbers not in the meeting?
Well, they get out with the fake news, you know, like CNN over here doesn't want to put them out because they don't like putting out good numbers. They don't like putting out, because I think they hate our country, actually.
At this point, Donald Trump opened up the meeting to anybody to ask any question from inside, and I was surprised because anybody could ask any question. There was no line, there was no hand raising. Whoever could speak the loudest would get their questions out. And this is where Donald Trump and the lady next to me from CNN started to have an ongoing battle for the rest of the meeting.
Do you have any questions, please?
President Trump?
No, let's not start
Mr.
with
President.
CNN. They're just so
Mr. President.
wrong. Yeah, please.
And I quickly learned that anything could happen in this meeting. There was absolutely no script, no rules. Anybody could ask anything at any time. Whoever wanted to speak could speak. It was just a matter of who could speak louder and who could speak longer to get their question off. And this is where the argument between Donald Trump and the CNN reporter started as she asked him about the deportation of an MS-13 gang member from Maryland who was originally from El Salvador, and the rest of Donald Trump's cabinet came in with the facts.
Do you plan to ask him to help?
President Trump,
Do you
how important is it for you to send these prisoners to Second?
Let's hear the question from this
Do you-
very low-rated anchor.
Thank you, President Trump. Thank you, President Trump. Do you plan to ask President Bukele to help return the man who your administration says was mistakenly deported? The man who was mistakenly deported to El Salvador?
Well, let me ask Pam, would you answer that question?
Sure, President. First and foremost, he was illegally in our country. He had been illegally in our country. And in 2019, two courts, an immigration court and an appellate immigration court, ruled that he was a member of MS-13 and he was illegally in our country.
Can you just also respond to that question? Because, you know, it's asked by CNN and they always ask it with a slant because they're totally slanted because they don't know what's happening. That's why nobody's watching them. But would you answer that question also?
Yes, gladly. So, as Pam mentioned, there's an illegal alien from El Salvador. With respect to you, he's a citizen of El Salvador. So, it's very arrogant even for American media to suggest that we would even tell El Salvador how to handle their own citizens as a starting point. And I can promise you, if he was your neighbor, you would move right away.
So you don't plan to ask for his help to get him back? Is that your position? Well,
No version of this legally ends up with him ever living here because he is a citizen of El Salvador. That is the president of El Salvador. Your questions about it per the court can only be directed to him.
I asked President Bukele, can President Bukele weigh in on this? Do you plan to return him?
Well, I'm supposed to be suggesting that I smuggle a terrorist into the United States.
Well, Mr. President, you said that if the Supreme Court said someone needed to be returned, that you would abide by that. You said that on Air Force One just a few days ago, and they said that it must be facilitated.
Why don't you just say, isn't it wonderful that we're keeping criminals out of our country? Why can't you just say that?
Well, it's a legal dispute, so I just wanted to get some clarity on it, Mr. President.
That's why nobody watches you anymore. You have no credibility. Please go ahead.
President Bukele,
How essential is it for you guys to be locking up these prisoners? And do you think more presidents should follow suit like you guys as far as taking a hard stance on crime here in the United
I
States?
do. I think everybody has to. The president said it better than anybody.
And after I had somehow managed to get out my one question, Donald Trump opened up the room for more questions, and him and CNN went right back at it.
Question?
On tariffs, do you have an update? Mr. President, for businesses that want clarity, how temporary are those exemptions? How long do you think the exemptions will last?
Thank you.
Mr. President, do you have any comment on the FTC's case against Meta and Mark Zuckerberg?
thank you, Press.
Thank you, Nayib.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We got the story. Thank you.
All right, now we're heading out of office. That was crazy. Trump was just going after the lady from right next to me from CNN. And here, we're on the lawn of the White House. Beautiful, beautiful place right here. I'm gonna confront the CNN lady. How do you guys feel like your briefing went?
We didn't do a briefing.
Or how do you guys feel like your questions went?
Typical Monday, you know?
And is it normal for Trump to attack you like that? No? How's that usually go? The way the White House works is here on the West Wing is where all the important meetings happen. That's where I was just at during the Oval Office. And then right here you have the residency, and then on the other side is the East Wing. Donald Trump lives inside of the residency. The second and third floors are primarily for the president and for his family. And a fun fact about the White House, all of the windows are bulletproof. And they even say they are bomb-proof. Somebody in 2011 tried to shoot in at the White House from a nearby street, and Secret Service didn't even notice that the windows got shot at because that's how bulletproof they are. The White House is quite literally the most secure house in the entire country. You couldn't find a house more secure than the White House. They have Secret Service 24/7, snipers on the roof. In Secret Service here, there's upwards of 8,000 Secret Service members in the Secret Service. I don't know exactly how many are here at the White House. However, everywhere you go, you see a Secret Service member, whether it be outside or inside or at the front doors. There's Secret Service everywhere here. And inside of the Oval Office, I didn't get a chance to look. However, it is rumored, whether it be true or not, there is a button that is supposed to be used for like nuclear weapons or something. That's kind of a rumor. But they said that Donald Trump turned that into a button to order Diet Coke. So he clicks that button and a Diet Coke comes. I don't know if it's true or not, but it is kind of funny that that news and that rumor to get spread across the interweb. I really wanted to know what happens at the White House when there is no press and no television, and to see how the White House is operating underneath Donald Trump in 2025. So I spoke with the Deputy Press Secretary to see what happens behind the doors when nobody is watching. And how would you say the changes are here in the White House from Trump's previous presidency and then Biden's presidency and now underneath Donald Trump's second presidency? What kind of changes and what's it like here inside the White House?
Well, we're all gas and no brakes here at the White House. We had 4 years to really prepare for this amazing moment, this mandate, over 77 million Americans who voted for President Donald Trump. And now we do know where kind of all the bodies are buried, if you will. And we came here with the plan, and we're executing that plan. I don't think so many people realized how well prepared the team was to execute not just executive actions, but communicating with the House and the Senate, using the full constitutional authority of the executive branch to fulfill the president's agenda.
How long did it take in order for Trump to come into office and really start getting things done?
1 minute. He raised his right hand, he put his hand on the Bible, and he was ready to go.
And here inside the White House, from people that were here underneath Biden's staff that are now working underneath Trump's staff, what's the sentiment and what's the feelings like, and like what's the change of pace like?
Well, there's a lot of what we call career staff members. A lot of them have been offered ways of offboarding into private service, because if they are not on board with the agenda, we want to give them an opportunity to seek other employment if they're going to obstruct the will of the people and the president's agenda. So we do still have some people who have gone through generations of administrations who are committed to the mission, and we enjoy their employment here. But if you are going to be an obstruction to the president and this administration, we have given them ample go through the books and realize if you aren't a critical asset to this administration, if you are duplicative, if your services are no longer needed, we are making those changes.
And how often are you guys seeing people coming in and out of the White House, as far as like people like Elon Musk coming in? Like how quick and how frequent do you see people like that coming inside of the office?
Well, Elon Musk is a special government employee in SGE, so he is here almost every single day. But then we also have foreign dignitaries. We have the president of El Salvador here. We have the prime minister of Italy coming on Thursday. There's no shortage of visitors to the White House. They are realizing that this president is here to do business and to make deals and to really push forward a golden age in America. And you've got everyone from the Jamie Dimon to the Mark Zuckerbergs to foreign dignitaries. Everyone is here to see the president.
And for the people that did work underneath Joe Biden here in the White House, how do they describe the changes they've seen here since Trump's gotten into office?
Anyone who is working here at the White House or in the administration is happy to have a president that is actually doing the job, who has not relinquished the control of the executive branch to unnamed, unknown bureaucrats. The president of the United States is in the driver's seat of this administration and of this country, and I think that's a massive change from the last 4 years.
And on a scale of 1 to 10, how transparent would you say this presidency is being with the American people?
10 does not even accurately represent it. He is at a million. He is the most transparent president in American history. This is something that he enjoys doing, but it's really a reflection of how he feels about the American people. He wants the American people to have unfettered access to what he has to say, which is why he's so transparent.
And I was surprised today because I went into the Oval Office and I was like, is that the Oval Office? I was calling office because I was like, is that the Oval Office? I don't want to call it something if it's not. But we walked into the Oval Office and I was one of the people that could ask a question, and nobody asked me, this is the question you need to ask, this is what's gonna happen. Literally, I could have said anything and the president would have had to answer.
It is the freedom, it's the true freedom of the press. We open up our doors to all types of media. Caroline Leavitt, under the leadership of Taylor Butterwich and Stephen Chung as well, have opened up this White House to historic levels of reporters. It's a reminder to a lot of people that Joe Biden, his administration, did away with over 400 press badges from reporters.
They got rid of 400 press badges.
Got rid of 400.
So there was not really any transparency then?
At all. And there was an effort on day one here to reinstate all those press badges to make sure that the press briefing room in this White House is open to all who are credentialed to do media.
And to ensure that there is no censorship or probing or planned questions going on unlike the previous administration, I asked one of the reporters who frequently reports from the White House how it all works. As far as everything coming in and out of this press briefing room, how would you say the transparency is?
It's wide open. I mean, no one's ever told us to say anything or not say anything or not share. It's very, very transparent.
So you never have to come with questions already ready to ask that you have to get vetted from the White House?
You definitely should be ready with the question, but there is no vetting of any variety. And a lot of the new media people that are here too, they say the same thing. No one's ever, told me to ask this question or, hey, can you ask this question?
For instance, if Caroline's ever up there and she says something bad, does she ever say, wait, actually don't put that out?
I've never heard that. As soon as she's up there talking, it's ready to go.
So everything that leaves that pulpit eventually makes it into the ears of the American people?
Absolutely.
Nothing gets cut?
I've never seen anything get cut.
That's how it should be here in America, right? We should be able to say and have a free press here inside the White House.
I would definitely agree with that part.
Here in the press room, you have one floor, and then there's actually a bottom floor to the press room?
Yeah, there's multiple layers, obviously.
Really? Can we go down?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Here you have other news media desk. You have BBC News. I saw that down here. You have a bunch of other ones here as well. And you have Fox News. You have C-SPAN. How you doing, Peter?
Hey, good. How you doing?
Good, good. We're doing a little tour of the White House, showing people what it's like here in 2025. Nice. How would you describe the White House underneath Donald Trump compared to Joe Biden?
A lot of sound bites.
A lot of sound bites, he says. I'm now leaving the White House, and what a privilege and honor it was to enter inside of the house of the country here in the United States, the White House, place where President lives. And it's amazing to see how it works. They don't filter any of the information that comes in or out of the White House. Everything you see is what it really is like inside the White House. The fight that you see inside the Oval Office, the media spewing questions like crazy, that's how it is inside of the Oval Office. They didn't ask me for any questions prior. I could go in there and I could have asked anything. If you are an American citizen, it's time to appreciate how lucky you are to live here inside of this nation. Right now, we have a president and an administration that's trying to be as transparent as possible for the American people, doing interviews every single day. Whether you like the president or not, you cannot disregard and you should respect how much transparency we are getting from our current administration inside the White House. It's an honor and privilege to be an American citizen. Only 4% of the world are citizens of this country, and it is the best country in the entire world. And if you guys are happy and proud to be American like I am, please hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and I'll see you guys next video. Thank you so much.